2 games to go then in Group B, the opening night of Group B on week 10 of Modus Super Series 7. Yes, we have almost completed 7 series of this tournament here in Portsmouth. We may well get a new winner come the end of this one. Could it come from this week? Could it come from this group? There are certainly plenty of capable players in the group tonight. But this pair are the two tied on
First
1 win and 2 points at the foot of the table. And looking to leapfrog Ross Montgomery into a provisional qualifying place at the end of this match. Montgomery will take on Fallon Sherrick in the curtain closer tonight. And Ted Evetts,
140.
a strong start after defeat to Sherrick in his last game.
Just looking through the people who have qualified for Champions Week so far.
135.
We haven't got anybody there who has won a series before. And if that continues through to week 13, Littler will still remain the only person to have won 2 series.
180.
Yeah, no one next week, apart from, of course, our reigning champion.
60.
There is still a chance that we could get another back-to-back champion. 6 and 7 could go to Scott Taylor. He will be in this group next week.
Shane McGuirk is looking at the dartboard at the start of a match
149.
and seeing a thunderous beginning from Evetts. I'm starting to think that if Shane walks away with 2 points tonight, that's going to be a good night.
Yeah, that's game short in the first.
216s for Ted Evetts, so to make that slightly less likely.
Second leg, it's Shane.
Tell you what else has leapt out to me about the Champions Week lineup so far is how well the ADC Europe representatives have done this time around. Andreas Harrison, of course, has been there before, but we've also got Jimmy Van Ski and Bradley
60.
Roos. And many of the other ADC Europe reps have lost in the final.
Yeah, and I have to say it, that department of players has definitely stepped up
101
in 2024 compared to last year. They were decent last year, but there were a few weak links. And I think ADC Europe has definitely
40
sent us stronger players this year, but the strength in depth is better than it was 12 months ago.
In the last 2 weeks, we've had beaten finalists in Sebastian Białecki and Gilbert van der Meijden.
140.
Evetts is on one here.
There's a real contrast to his previous game. You mentioned the word erratic, and I think he has been that. He's an enigma, isn't he, Ted Evetts?
Well, we're going to have an enigma here next week, aren't we? Brian Roman, the Riddler.
Oh, of course, yeah.
The real name of the Riddler, Edward Nigma.
And he actually completes that conversation because he is representing ADC Europe, of course, along with Michel van der Horst in the full lumberjack attire.
Well, if he's a lumberjack, and I hope he's okay.
There'll be a couple of pretty quick games in that group, won't they? Ashley Coleman, Tommy Morris, Brian Roman. All in the same group.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Roman against Coleman. I think that could be rapid. That 5 minutes 41 of Alexander Merckx in the fastest game we've seen could be under threat next week. For 2-0, he could do it in 24 darts. 25 will do.
Second leg.
10 darter, 15 darter. And he is skyward right now, and Shane is nothing but dizzy.
And look at those numbers. And you may say, well, it's only 2 legs, but there may only be 2 more. He can maintain that.
I will say one thing.
100.
If he gets the result in this game, it's a much better start than the last time he was in Group B at the end of the last series. And the last thing he needed was another
44.
repeat of what happened in Group B then. He was out of it by round 2 on Friday. I don't think that's going to happen this time, judging on what we've seen so far.
97.
He definitely looks a
60.
bit more battle-hardened. His resistance come Tuesday was very noticeable. He didn't come in with a defeatist attitude. He came in with a fresh, somewhat tempered aggression in his first game on Tuesday, and it set his stall out for the next 2 days. He didn't get the group, but I think he was definitely trending in the right way,
99.
and he reacted to the situation better than I thought he would, actually.
He'd love to make it through to Champions Week himself, of course, just for his own personal achievement, but his good pal is there already, isn't he, Bradley Brooks?
He did this in the first leg. He's done it again.
49.
Honestly, Shane McGuirk is like a boxer in the ring at the minute, and he's just punching smoke. He's not hitting Ted Evetts with anything.
134.
That 134 might be a completely
32.
pointless shot because Evetts is already at double 16.
Yeah, that's came short in the
I
third
did say he
round.
might be able to maintain that
Evetts.
standard. He's still averaging north of 115.
Forward-legged Shane to throw first. Game on.
An absolute toweling.
Well, let's do our maths here. That's 38 darts. It's 39 darts, isn't it? 'Cause it's
43.
313 darters to get to this point here. So if he gets a 13 dart leg here, he will finish with a 115.62. Anything better than a 13, he's pushing towards that 120 mark.
58.
Yeah, 12, 13, 14 he's done in the match, or the equivalent of 313 darters, and we'll need to find a maximum, you would think, to maintain that, having not
85.
found a treble in his first visit. Have to say, Paul, it's my favourite shot in darts, that 149 setup. To me, that's as pleasing to watch as any big checkout.
139.
Bullseye, the smallest target on the board, then a treble that you rarely go for in treble 13.
Well, it's usually setting up a 10 dart attempt, isn't it?
140.
It just makes it look like you are in that zone where you don't feel you're going to miss anything.
It's very new school as well. It was made famous by MVG. He was the first person to really use that on a regular basis.
140.
And it's sensible as well, because you hit the 25, you're just going back up to the treble 20.
As far as finishing your campaign for the night is concerned,
93.
164 is not a bad way to do it.
164.
It's not going to happen. Got to trim the 64 minimum here. He's going to do more than that.
89. Shane, you require 140.
He has not had one dart at a double. And he might not get one at all.
120.
How ironic.
Made
Touch
sure he
requires
did, Paul. He made sure he threw it
75.
one. It wasn't to win the leg. And Ted Evetts could win the match. Hadn't shown many signs of this.
Game shot and a
It
match.
came out of
Ted
nowhere,
Evetts.
but it was out of this world from Ted Evetts, who defeats Shane McGuirk 4-0 with a stunning showing. A match which ended in an average of 111.33. Absolutely brilliant stuff. The best we've seen all week. 4 out of 6 on the doubles for Evetts.